Coming up, remembering a high school athlete gone too soon.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News at 11.
Good evening, I'm Steve Hensley. People are remembering a Knott County Central High School student that died in an ATV crash. Gage Cotto was the quarterback for the football team and would have been a junior this fall. WYMT's Madison Carmouche spoke with Cotto's family, teachers, and coaches about the impact he had on the community.
Gage Cotto was known for more than just his skills on the field. Coaches and teachers say he was also a positive student in the classroom.
He, just a real pleasant kid to be around. Really enjoyed the game of football. Enjoyed coming to school. Was always, always happy in the hallways when you'd see him. Always had a big smile on his face.
Even though he was a sophomore, he had an opportunity to lead his team as the quarterback.
He was so afraid he was going to mess up, but he didn't. Yeah, he led his offense to 52 points on the board, and he just a phenomenal kid. Great work ethic, and the kids around him fed off of that.
School officials say that making sure students feel supported is important during this challenging time.
Well, I think anytime you lose a young person like that, it has a psychological effect on the students and the friends and the young people that knew Gage.
Gage was a leader on the team, and coaches say this season will not be the same without him.
I broke the news to the team after practice. It was really quiet. Everybody was just stunned, and I told them, I said, here's the deal. I said, I don't care when it is, we'll stay up all night long and cry. We'll stay up all night long and talk.
He was the type of kid that could change the entire culture or climate of the room just with his presence.
In Knott County, Madison Carmouche, WYMT Mountain News.
Funeral arrangements for Cotto have not been set, but Pollard says the service will be at the Knott Central High School gym. We'll pass along those arrangements on our website when they are released. We're learning new information about a deadly shooting involving a young person in Laurel County. We first told you last night a 12-year-old was shot and killed at a home on Shackle Road in Lilly. The coroner says the victim is Malachi Hagen Moses. He was shot in the stomach. The family tells us he was staying with a friend when the two were handling a gun. A shot was fired. Moses' family says they hope Malachi's story will prevent this from happening to other families.
Is there firearms in your house?
Yes.
Are you taking the precaution of locking up your firearms? Can you please do that if my child's coming to your house?
It's not clear if any charges will be filed. Laurel County Public Schools released a statement saying they will remember Malachi for his wonderful sense of humor and kind personality. Funeral arrangements have not been set. It's unclear again if charges will be filed. A death investigation is underway after a woman was hit and killed by a train. It happened around 10 o'clock last night near the railroad crossing on Bullock Road in Laurel County. According to the sheriff's office, the train hit a woman who was on the tracks, and the coroner has identified the victim as 26-year-old Alexis Farmer. Deputies have not said what led up to the incident.
Overall, a quiet weather night throughout the mountains tonight, and we'll continue to see at least mostly quiet conditions, but a couple of raindrops can't be ruled out. Here is the view as we look outside from our Pikeville Medical Center camera at this hour. No big issues as we head through the nighttime hours. 81 still, though, the current temperature, and that's well after sunset. A lot of us are still in the low to mid 80s. 82 Somerset, 83 in Monticello. 77 in Harlan as well at this hour, so we will continue to see very mild temperatures. I was just checking the feels like 89 right now in Monticello. We're 5 past 11 and it feels like nearly 90 degrees. A few cooling raindrops trying to work on in western parts of Lawrence County, into parts of Morgan County. These are very light showers. One on top of Campton right now, moving down the Mountain Parkway. One near Beattyville and St. Helens there in parts of Lee County. One northwest of Manchester. That'll be moving over on top of you shortly. One near Corbin as well, and a few more showers back eastern parts of Pulaski County and into Wayne and McCreary counties. Those will continue to push to the south and east. Not a whole lot with these overnight, but your forecast first through the next 12 hours, we remain mild. A lot of us are going to struggle to get below 80 for a low tonight, only in the mid-70s, and quickly back up near 90 by midday tomorrow. Steve, I'll have the latest on when we see perhaps a return to some dangerous heat in a few minutes.
All right, Evan, thanks. We first brought you the story of EKU student Candace Jenkins last August. The Letcher County native lost everything in the flood last July. But with the help of her university, she was able to stay in school. Tonight, Jeremy Toms caught up with Candace to see how her family is doing and learn how she's helping others to rebuild.
Nearly a year has passed.
I'm just still waiting to wake up because it's still, this entire year was a complete blur.
But Candace Jenkins has spent that year grappling with what happened.
I moved into college as quick as I could. I was like, I have to take a break because it was hard on me. It was really, really hard.
Candace's Letcher County home was a total loss after the flooding, but she says it is being rebuilt through the Appalachian Service Project. And with EKU funding her education, the rising junior continues to pursue a piece of family history.
I'm the first woman to ever go to college in my family. After everything that's happened, my family and the school, they still put my education first.
Now she's giving back to her crestfallen community, working as a case manager for the Cajun Navy.
I'll go in, I'll contact people, ask them what they're needing with the flood, what they need to be done to get back on their feet.
Candace helps connect other flood victims with the nonprofit's ground crew to start rebuilding. She sees every day that the needs of this region remain great.
I was like, we need drywall, flooring, any type of thing that will help. We have no one that can work on plumbing or HVAC. The homes is backed up for 3 years now.
With the one-year marker upon her, Candace takes solace in the way Kentuckians continually meet those needs for one another.
There's kids that never even picked up a shovel before that was out here mucking out people's houses. So I really want people to look back on it and just be very proud of how much we've overcame, how people came together.
Jeremy Toms, WKYT.
Candace says her new home should be rebuilt by the end of this year. She is working towards a degree in EKU's brand new manufacturing engineering program. Post-graduation, she hopes to either start her career or join the military. Rebuilding homes has been a long process for flood survivors and the organizations working with them. Many homes are still actively being constructed almost a year after the flood. The Appalachia Service Project has finished 8 homes with many more in the works. Flood Recovery Coordinator Grant Vermilia says they try to help survivors get close to where they lived before.
We give them the opportunity to stay at home where they've called home. In a lot of our family's cases, these are lots or properties that have been in the family for 30, 40 plus years. And that's been home for them and other generations before them. So we have the unique opportunity to usually build back where they were and keep them at home.
The Appalachia Service Project is also partnering with Christian Appalachian Project to build homes for survivors. A meeting was held this evening in Floyd County in an effort to assess unmet needs of flood victims there. And WYMT's Jordan Mullins was there and spoke to some officials about how this meeting may help folks recover.
Nearly a year has passed since flooding rocked eastern Kentucky. In Floyd County, folks are still in need of help.
It's hard to believe that it's been a year and we still have so many people who need assistance.
The Floyd County Disaster Response Coalition, St. Bernard's Parish, and many other organizations and nonprofits came together on Wednesday to hear about some of those needs.
Well, most of it won't surprise anybody, right? We still need homes repaired, homes rebuilt. We still need bridges. We still need culverts cleaned out, all of those things.
And connect flood victims with folks who can help.
We will have caseworkers there. We will have different agencies there to determine, if there's any additional help that is needed for these folks, if there's any additional unmet needs.
While listening to their stories.
Part of healing and recovering is being able to tell your story. And I was just telling a couple earlier, you can make this test your testimony. There is light, there is hope, there are resources. We just need to connect you to the right places.
Continuing their road to recovery. In Floyd County, Jordan Mullins, WYMT Mountain News.
St. Bernard's Parish Eastern Kentucky Disaster Recovery and Resilience Fellow Sarah Hambrick adds there will be another meeting tomorrow evening from 5:30 to 7:30 at the Virgie Baptist Church in Pike County. Tomorrow night marks exactly 1 year since that deadly flooding began. Multiple groups are holding memorial events, including Appalachian Regional Healthcare. All 14 hospitals will observe a moment of silence at noon. The hospital is also helping flood survivors with a school supply drive. People can drop off back-to-school items like pencils and calculators at ARH's corporate location in Lexington from 8 until 5, or closer to home, the ARH Disaster Relief Center at the old J.C. Penney here in Hazard from 9:30 to 4:30. A drainage structure on Kentucky 451 near Busy that was washed out during the flood is now repaired and open to traffic again. The drainage structure is the last of 5 long-term closings that required significant repairs in this transportation region. Officials say permanent repairs have also been made to 122 major breaks in pavement in Breathitt, Lee, Owsley, Perry, and Wolfe counties. They said only 21 breaks are left to be repaired. Nearly 5 miles of steel has been used to fix the breaks. Apple Shop in Whitesburg has been documenting the region's recovery from last July's flood for the past year, and they were flooded too. Tonight they gathered community members and premiered their new film called All Is Not Lost. WYMT's Keaton Hall was there.
The end of July marks the 1-year anniversary of the July 2022 floods, and groups across the region are using this time to come together and remember.
When we thought about how we wanted to mark this anniversary, because it has been a really hard year for us and for the community, we talked about we just wanted a space for people to gather.
Apple Shop, which itself was devastated by the floods, held a community gathering on Wednesday with food and fellowship.
Sometimes we can segment ourselves into our own little portions of community, but when the flood hit, every neighbor was helping everyone, and it was this really beautiful time in our community, and so we want to honor that.
Apple Shop also premiered their new flood documentary, All Is Not Lost.
In a lot of ways, it's sort of a love letter to the community. More than anything, it's just, it documents what we went through.
It's great to have members of the community and people that are featured in the film here tonight to see it for the first time.
Officials with Apple Shop say the documentary helps tell the story of the people who were most affected.
The love and compassion that neighbors showed each other during this event, and we wanted to show that from so many different angles, and so that's what we really tried to do with this film.
Documenting the resilience of their community and showing all is not lost. In Letcher County, Keaton Hall, WYMT Mountain News.
The film will be free to watch on the Apple Shop YouTube page starting July 28th. Be sure to join us tomorrow and Friday on Mountain News for special coverage of the 1-year anniversary of the historic flooding. We will take you to several remembrance ceremonies both days in the hardest hit counties. Governor Andy Beshear and Attorney General Daniel Cameron also plan to visit the region, and we will debut our documentary, Faces of the Flood, Friday night at 7 here on WYMT. Camp Falcon has campers from Floyd County taking part in its community. The 3rd annual camp is a partnership between the David School and Floyd County Sheriff John Hunt. The event is working with other community partners like the library, the East Kentucky Science Center, and the Mountain Arts Center to give back to area kids.
I'm big on community. I'm big on kids here. I like giving things for them to do. We do the Camp Falcon every year. We do the Fall Festival for them every year. We try to provide as much for them to do as possible and introduce them to our school and what we're about.
This year is the camp's largest turnout. The Falcon festivities continue tomorrow. Coming up on Mountain News at 11, Senator Mitch McConnell says he is fine after a concerning few seconds of staring into space at a news conference.
And hot weather continues through the end of this week. The very latest after this.
Your health matters. At Home Place Clinic, it's our priority.